Hello and welcome. In this video tutorial, we will be discussing about many things. First, we will be discussing about linear searching, and then we will move on to binary search. Then we will discuss some sorting techniques like insert sort and quick sort. So without wasting time, let's get to the video. Also, before I start the video, I would like to inform the about the complete interview question series of Python. It is present in DataMonk. So if you go and search the playlist, you will be able to find it very easily. So now moving on to the code. So what is linear search basically? Suppose that we have an array and these are the elements present in my array and the value of x I have taken to be 110. That means that I want to find that whether this 110 is present in this array of mine or not, and if it is present, then at what index. As we all know that in an array the indexing starts from 0. Okay, and similarly if I have an array like this and if the value is of x is 110, so the output should be that element x is present at index 6. So as we can see that since the indexing is starting from 0, at element 6 we have 110. And in this array, the value of x I have taken to be 175, and since 175 is not present in this array, so it will return -1 and the output should be something like element x is not present in this array. Okay, so what will be the lines of code and how does linear search even work? Okay, so the lines of code will be the lines of code will be first we will define a function. Okay, so let's define a function. The name of the function I'm writing search. Okay, now this function has two parameters. What are the two parameters? First array and then n comma x. Okay, three parameters. So array n and x. Now we'll get inside the function using this colon. Now we will use a for loop. So for I in range, and what is the range? 0 to n. So 0 comma n. Okay. If array I is equal to x, okay, colon, then return I. Okay, else it will return -1. Okay, now this is the function which we defined for our linear search. So whether this technique is working or not, let's see. So for seeing that, we'll use a driver code. So let's use a driver code. Okay, so let's take an array. Let's take an array and write the array is, let's say, 2 3 4 10 and 40. 2 comma 3 comma 4 10 and 40. Okay, all right. Now let's say that the value of 10 is x. So x is equal to 10. Okay, and the value of n is, as we all know, the value of n is always the length of the array. Okay, now what we'll have to do? We will have to call the function. We will have to call the function. So function calling. Okay, let me scroll down. So how do we call a function? Say that we'll take a if statement. So if, let's see over here, what is this function returning? This function is returning I, or it is returning -1. Okay, so in the if statement we will write that if the result is equal to -1, okay, if the result is equal to -1, then in that case it will print that the element is not present. Okay, it will print that the element is not present. Okay, and if the result is not equal to -1, if it is something else than -1, okay, then it will definitely be the value of I. Then in that case we will print that element is present at index, and then we will print the result. Okay, so we will print that element is present at index and we will print the result. Okay, we'll print the result. Okay, so let's check this. Let's check this one. So what will we do? Shift and enter. Okay, all right, we have missed a line over here. We'll have to write result. So result is equal to, we'll write the function over here, search, and the parameters array comma n comma x. Okay, so yes, now this is working. The element is present at index x, index 3. So what is index 3? In our driver code, index 3 is 0 1 3 0 1 2 3, number 10. Okay, so let's take a number which is not present. Let's say that x is 100. So as you all know that 100 is not present in this array, so the element is not present. So in what is happening over here, see, first it is taking the first element in this range. This range means this array range. Okay, and it is checking, it is comparing that whether x or the element which we want to search, whether it matches with the first element. If it is matching, it is returning that element. If it is not matching, then it is moving on to the second element in this range, in the range of my array. Okay, if the second element matches, it returns I, and if it doesn't match, it move on to the third element. So in this way it checks for all the elements in the array, and if it gets the match, it will return I. If it doesn't get the match, it will return -1. Okay, and then we simply call this function and write the printing statement. So this is about linear search. Okay, so now moving on to binary search. Okay, moving on to binary search. So how do we do binary search basically? Let me write the lines of code and let me explain it to you, that how do we do binary search. So let me make this a markdown cell. Okay, so binary search. Now, in a nutshell, this binary search algorithm takes advantage of a collection of elements that is already sorted by ignoring of the elements after just one comparison. Okay, so let's say that we have an element x, okay, and x is some element which we want to find. So binary search will compare this x with the middle element. Okay, if x matches with the middle element, we return the mid index. Okay, else x is greater than the mid element, then x can only lie in the right half subarray after the mid element. Then we apply the algorithm again for the right half only. Okay, and if x is smaller, then x should lie between the left half. Then the target x must lie between the left half, and so we apply the algorithm for left half only. Okay, let's do it. So let's first see the recursive method. So for doing all the searching techniques, we have two methods. One is recursive and one is iterative. Okay, so let's see the recursive method first. So let's define a binary search technique or a binary search function first. For doing that, we'll write define and binary underscore search. Okay, so this is the name of our function. This is the name of a function. Now inside we'll take in some parameters. So the parameters will be array, low, high, and x. Okay, so these are some of the parameters. Now inside the function we will write the base case. What is the base case? The base case is that if high is greater than equal to low. Okay, and if this happens, then the mid value becomes high plus low divided by 2. Okay, so if the high is greater than equal to low, then the middle value it becomes high, or the highest value plus the lowest value divided by 2. Okay, and if element is present at the middle itself, if the element is present at the middle itself, then what will happen? Then if array mid is equal to x, if this happens, then what will happen? It will return the mid value. So return mid. Okay, now what will happen? It will move on to the else if statement. Okay, it will move on to the else if statement, that if the value is not present in the middle, then what will happen? Then we will write the else if statement, or we write it as elif. Okay, elif array, and in the square brackets we write mid. Okay, so mid equal to x, then return. Okay, if mid is greater than x, if mid is greater than x, okay, then return binary search, return, in this case return binary search array, comma, low, comma, mid, -1, comma, x. Okay, all right. And if this is also not the case, then it will return, else it will return binary search, binary underscore search. Okay, and array, comma, mid plus 1 this time, mid plus 1 this time, comma, high, comma, x. Okay, all right. Now moving on, we write the else statement again, but this time this else will be for this if and not the if inside. Okay, so we will ignore the indentation and write for this if, else return -1. Okay, else return -1. Now we will use a test array. Now we'll use the test array, and for testing the array, let's define array is equal to 2, 3, let's say 7, 6. Okay, some number of elements. And now I want to test my x is equal to 10, whether 10 is present here or not. Okay, and how will I call the function? So for calling the function, I'll write result is equal to binary underscore search array, comma, 0, comma length array -1 comma x. Okay, now we'll write if result is not equal to -1, then print element is present at index. What will be the index? The index will be result. Okay, result will be stored in the index and we are converting it into string data type. That is why I've written str. Okay, and if the result is equal to -1, if the result is equal to -1, then we'll write the else statement, else print element is not present, element is not present